If you've played some modern video games recently, then you've probably noticed this trend of broken art styles. Many times you'll look at the store page and see something that makes absolutely no sense for the setting of the game. Or maybe you notice something stupid like Nicki Minaj in a military shooter wearing a pink skin-tight outfit. Kids, you either love them or you hate them, but if you're a games publisher, you see them as a big, fat, juicy bag of money. Kids are notoriously easy to market to. Throw some bright colours onto something, add some loud sounds, and voila, you have a game that kids will eat up every single day. Fortnite. This game is divisive to many people. I, for one, do not enjoy it. Not anymore. Fortnite Battle Royale in its early beginnings was video game industry gold. No physical release, free for all, cartoony art style that anyone could get behind, and it was amazing. It exploded almost overnight. What used to be a mediocre PvE game became a streaming juggernaut in a way that other games in the Battle Royale genre couldn't. Let's just take a look at the competitors that were directly against Fortnite, specifically Battle Royale games and games with Battle Royale game modes. Yeah. PUBG had a virtual monopoly over the Battle Royale genre in mainstream popularity. A lot of your favourite YouTubers were probably playing it to varied levels of success.
What a fucking
You see, PUBG was honestly quite a complex game, starting as a mod for DayZ, which if you're familiar with my last video, you'll know it's a stupidly complex game. But this level of complexity led to a problem that many games face: accessibility. PUBG's art style and gameplay loop was a lot more serious and tactical, and involved a lot of walking or driving, as the map is really damn big. There was an immediate barrier to entry for more casual audiences, and in gaming, that usually is very hard to work with. You cannot have a game of this scale with only professional esports gaming gods. It just doesn't work. So clearly, the Battle Royale genre is in a tricky position. PUBG was going to get stale eventually, as it simply wasn't easy to just pick up and play. And then comes along Fortnite. This game pushed its way into the spotlight and stayed there. A mere month after its release date, starting Season 1 of its tri-monthly release system. Coming with a battle pass, which is paid, coming at $7, this system is unironically genius. And this works like any other game for a while, up until Season 4. This right here should have been a red flag. By this point, it's 2018, and Activision is coming out swinging with its brand new Blackout mode, a battle royale that, well, it flopped brutally. Epic Games had a little scare with Blackout coming out. They needed something big, they needed something flashy, so they did the biggest thing they possibly could. They got a collaboration with the biggest movie of the year, Avengers Infinity War. If you remember the hype around that movie, then you'll clearly see how this collab was huge for Fortnite, and to be fair, this was an alright example. It wasn't too over the top, and it was just a limited game mode. But it set a precedent that Epic Games not only would get away with these art style endangering collabs, but also make a boatload of money because of it. But then, Epic Games held a level of restraint. They only had a few collaborations in the rest of the chapter. But you can see a clear escalation when you look at these collabs happen. As the chapter went on, there were more and more collaborations, and each one got a tiny bit more bold, a tiny bit closer to being art style killing. But entering chapter 2, there is a collaboration in the very first season, and it only keeps going throughout the seasons. These bold art style shifting collabs only keep harming the unique identity that Fortnite had going for itself. And the key reason for this change is... Let's just take a step back for a second, and let's imagine you're a businessman trying to advertise your product. Sales are down, and you need something big, and you need it now. Is there anything so squeaky clean and advertiser friendly with the least effort required? Before you would have needed to actually put effort into a collaboration, but it seems like gaming companies are intentionally making their games easier to advertise on, and actively abandoning their art styles. You have to remember, these types of collaborations were actually pretty rare before 2019. They were cool, they had effort put into them, and most importantly, they often had a purpose to exist. Whether it was a theme or a time frame or some other thing, they made sense to some extent. But many of the corporate entities that want these collaborations don't play video games. They see COD sales figures and think, I want some of that. And then immediately pump out some garbage and propose it to their COD contact, Bob. But that doesn't mean that collabs are necessarily bad. A good example of how to do a collaboration well, while still respecting the game that it's going into, would be Gears 5. For perspective, this is what the average man looks like in the Gears of War universe.
Yeah, that was beautiful, baby. Now I'm pissed.
Yeah, try getting that level in the gym. On the release of Gears 5, the game came with 4 collaboration characters, 2 from Terminator Dark Fate, and 2 from Halo Reach. Comparing these skins to the rest of the Gears of War characters, they fit in quite well. Sarah Connor is a badass fighting woman, and she would kick ass in the Gears universe if she was canonical. Luckily, all collabs are non-canon, essentially meaning that they didn't actually happen in the story. These collaborations were received extremely well by the Gears community, except for the T-800 not having enough lighting on it, which was resolved very quickly. It went so well that Terminator characters actually came back for a second round in the ringer. And whilst I don't necessarily like the look of these skins, they still make sense, and they still fit the theme of Gears of War. But as the life cycle of Gears 5 went on, they took a step in the wrong direction. The New Day WWE collab. These skins don't adhere to the Gears art style. They don't follow the gruff and tough art style that Gears of War has always had throughout the years. They're bright, glittery, shiny, everything that Gears very often isn't. These New Day skins were actually so badly received that they may have been removed. I'm not sure. The Reddit post doesn't go very much into detail. But let's think. Why does this suck and this doesn't? Let's run a test. When you see a game on screen, pause for a moment and think about what some of its central themes could be, then unpause to see if you got it close. Alright? Let's go.
You want a world war?
Emergence Day. In time.
Nice. How did you do? Comment down below, I'm actually curious to hear how that went. Usually people can tell when something is out of place by the things around it. You notice the thematic disconnect, and something feels off, and it breaks your immersion in the game's world. So clearly the collab item or event, skin, whatever, needs to fit in with the things around it, or it'll look out of place. And this can be a daunting task for collaborators, and likely has been the reason behind many collabs being dropped or cancelled. Although, many times the brand or individual that's doing the collab simply doesn't care. This is one of the things that leads to a terrible collab. So obviously on our little collab checklist, we should put a box for respecting the theme. What else goes into making a good collab? Timing. Timing is a very important thing when making a collab. You can get away with a lot more egregious things during times like Halloween and Christmas or even other holidays. These holiday skins seem to be widely accepted by the gaming community. Look to collabs like Donnie Darko and Ghostface in Call of Duty Cold War. These packs were limited time offers during the spooky month, and thus they were given quite a lot of leeway. The same goes for the game before it, Modern Warfare 2019, also getting away with the same skin situation. Very clearly there are some exceptions around theming that allow an amount of leeway. Bloody brilliant. This only makes more collabs possible, but many times game companies see the money rolling in and stop thinking about theming, abandoning artistic integrity for cold, hard cash. If you've played a recent COD game near its release, then you'll see an annoying trend. The game will come out and have a few months or so of consistency before eventually caving back into its usual habits and adding skins and battle passes that invalidate the entire identity of the game. These repeated tone-deaf decisions are what is killing mainstream gaming. These decisions to favour money over just listening to what your fans are saying is harming the industry. You see, these art style changes are more than just skin deep. They show something about the ethos of the company that is making them. They don't care about the identity of their product, instead caring about what makes the most money, and quite clearly, what makes the most money is also the most flashy. It almost feels like a lot of games nowadays have post-launch content created by a coked up artistic guinea pig because they can't stick to a single theme. You see it again and again in games that even say that they're not going to do this. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was so close to keeping its art style intact, but instead fell into the same trap that Fortnite did, losing its own flavour. Every game has its own unique feel, whether that be Halo's otherworldly majesty or old COD's grit. These games set themselves apart by their theming and art style, and to some extent, Halo has kept its art style somewhat intact, not falling as deep for the money trap marketing that COD and Fortnite fell face first into. These games are slowly turning away from being art pieces set in a time and a place to just becoming an interactive billboard for advertisers. All these games have ended up looking similar and similar as they try to keep up with each other's profit margins. It's not slowly creeping into the game anymore, it's done as quickly as possible to make the most money. COD players are already sick of this style of monetization, to the point where an option to turn off these skins has been floating around. Some even wanted it so much that they'd even pay for it. But many of the players propose another concern. What good is buying a unique skin if players can just turn them off? And frankly, it's a bit of a non-argument. Halo MCC had a very similar situation, and it actually does have an option like this, as the art style changes are quite controversial among Halo players. Albeit, were these cosmetics paid? No, they were free to earn, but that should make the point even stronger, as the skins in games like Fortnite and COD are paid, thus meaning they appear noticeably less often. In the Halo scenario, not many people were bothered by the option. It didn't get rid of anything, instead merely incentivizing the devs to make cosmetics that adhere to the older art style, and maintaining the MCC's purpose as a Halo time capsule. I for one think that an option to turn off certain skins, maybe even from a checklist menu so that players can pick and choose what not to see, could be a very good solution. Let's face it, somebody not seeing your art style breaking skin isn't a huge problem. If they don't want to see a cosmetic option that doesn't affect the game, then they should have the option to not see it. I don't want to see Nicki Minaj killing Homelander with a baseball bat in a military shooter that I paid for. In conclusion, collaborations can be extremely fun and very cool when they're done right, and that there's some wiggle room to work with around the holidays. But there has to be a limit for the sake of the game's art style. These collabs only encourage the executives to order more crazy looking skins to keep the same cash flow coming. So quite frankly, just stop paying for them. I thank you deeply for watching and humbly ask you to subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.